Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate. With me today is Dr. Thomas Mallory Hill, and I'm super excited to have him on the show because Dr. Thomas, him and I met in when we were dealing with our alignables, because Dr. T, as I call him, is actually in the States and I'm in Canada, but he has an incredible product and I want him to sit and talk about it. Because like I said, in this season of Devil's Advocate, I want more resources out there for us to feel wellness, especially being the men and women that build and construct our cities and villages. So welcome to the show, Dr. T.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. It is good to see you again. You make my heart sing.
Oh, thanks, Dr. T. You know what? We were just having a chat. So funny. I was talking to my podcast team the other day and they said to me, "How do you know Thomas Hill?" And I started laughing and I'm like, "You know Dr. T?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, I met him through Alignable." I'm like, "He's pretty." I said, "You know what happened is we kept ending up in the same rooms together and we would like every once in a while we'd connect like while we were in the Smart Connects and we would chit chat and we got along and then he was like, "We need to have a conversation out of here. We need to just have a conversation. These 7 minutes is not enough time." And I was like, "Sounds good." And we did, we connected.
We
And
did.
then you told me all about this amazing, incredible product. And I want you to tell me again, because you made a point of saying that it's like a structural, cellular, molecular type of ordeal. So I want you to go through that with me because this is really important.
Okay, well, I'll do my best, but I've been in this industry or this with this organization representing them going on 4.5 years now, and today a new technology that they've been looking at the manufacturer for 3 years, and I, because of the upper people, the big dogs, they have it under NDAs and disclosure. They wouldn't tell it. They're revealing it today to all the doc people around the world who've been invited.
Yep.
It'll be offered to the public February 8th. But let me come back and just start back over again. This technology, which is what it's known as, is called redox signaling molecules, and it is a breakthrough in the health and medical space that works natively with our bodies. In other words, there are four molecules that we cannot live without. And in combination, for example, hydrogen and oxygen, many of us know if we've gone through elementary school or high school, we know that that's water. Now, you can
Mhm.
go without water for a period of time, but sooner or later you'll die. We know that sodium and chloride, when you put those two together, sodium and chloride, that's salt. And
Mhm.
we know that in the construction trades, have an accident and be taken to the hospital, they're not hooking you up with honey, they're hooking you up with an IV, and it's called saline. And that's what
Mhm.
all of our cells are made from, salt and water. Well, it sounds really ridiculous that somebody patented the oceans. They haven't. I'm being facetious. But what's in the ocean is salt water.
Yep.
Now, let me ask a question, if I may, and for your audience. If I said to you, Lisa, I know it's your birthday, I'm baking you a cake. Now, you understand that I'm going to come with whether it's rectangle, square, whatever the shape of the cake is, you know it's going to be something good. Hopefully, you'll like what I bake for you, but it's a cake. You understand that, right?
Yep.
Lisa, if I said, Lisa, I'm so excited it's your birthday. I'm going to bring you flour and baking soda and sugar and vegetable oil. And I'm going to put a little, something else with it and some vanilla or lemon. And you're like, what? What do you, oh, it's called a cake. Redox signaling molecules have four atoms, molecules: hydrogen, oxygen, sodium, and chloride. And the combination between them, there are 16 electrons. And what happens in our bodies, because they're made in nanoseconds, all of our cells are made from saline. And what they do, they're very, very tiny molecules that signal to each other. Hey, this guy is sick. Hey, we got to clean up an IL 15, and your immune system goes to work, and they dispatch something called lymphocyte cells that come in and take care of the bacteria or take care of viruses. There are other cells, and then they kill themselves. That's called apoptosis, where there's a death of a cell, but guess what? The other cells next to it says, hey, I'm here to clean up, and it'll replace it with another cell. So very simply, redox signaling molecules either repair, replace, or rejuvenate existing cells, and it's going on every single day. For example, the largest organ in your body, Lisa, is your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you say elbow, knee, that sing the song like the kids do in elementary school, it's still skin.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're born, at the DNA level, they already have a program that says we're replacing those skin cells every 28 days.
Yeah.
And as we get older, when you're 50, maybe it's every 35 days. When you get into your 90s, that process has slowed down because it's not making new skin, but it
Mm-hmm.
is because you're still here. When the cells are done, you're done, more or less, right? So what's funny, the reason I'm laughing about it, because people say, yeah, but it comes from salt water. Yeah, no, it starts there, like when you're making a cake, but actually, I'm holding up a tube right now. This is the second delivery system. It's in a gel form.
Okay.
These molecules I can apply topically, right? And it does the exact same thing. It starts repairing, replacing, all of that stuff. And today they're announcing a different kind of genetic technology. They're telling us that it works at a level where it eliminates pain immediately. Now, what does that mean? That's different for every piece of flesh because everybody's genetically made up different.
Yeah.
But it works so rapidly, they're telling us that it will revolutionize what we know today. That will be worldwide through the spring. The rest of the world will have it, US and Canada and some European markets.
Yep.
Lisa, I don't know how to tell you without over promising and under delivering that even when I talked to you before, you were going to become a customer. The timing wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that this stuff doesn't work or you're not ready to try it. And because it's not toxic, and the information that I give to people, I say, check it out for yourself. They have a 30-day money back guarantee. What do you have to lose if it helps mitigate or decreases or actually changes what you've been exposed to without exaggeration?
Yeah. So
And people
here's the
need to
thing. So
hear.
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit because I mean
All
the
right, I'm
name of
sorry.
my show is Devil's Advocate Trades Edition,
Okay.
right?
All
So
right. That's
so a
good.
lot of
That's
people
good.
when they're listening to you, in my brain, I'm like, well, what stops somebody from drinking some seawater or just getting a bag of saline?
Here's what it is. That's why I go back and say, what stops a person from eating a cake? Nothing. But don't put maybe one of the ingredients in the cake. It no longer tastes like cake. Salt water or from the sea. You can't patent salt water, but
No.
it's the molecules of what they're made from, and
Yeah.
they've been stabilized through an electrolytic process. That's why it's a manufacturing process that
Mm-hmm.
converts it from flour, water, sugar, vegetable oil, margarine, or butter, or whatever. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get this product 3 days later called a cake, which has currently like a 21-month shelf life. So
Okay.
I say to people who are the devil's advocates, test it, prove it to
Yeah.
yourself that it doesn't work. Prove it that it's not jest. How about this? Let me ask you this question as a devil. Let me be the reverse of the devil's advocate, not an angel, but just in the group. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever heard of a product called a soft drink?
Yep.
Yeah, you would say that today, but in 1803, they'll look at you sideways and say, what are you talking about, a soft drink? There's either water, wine, or, strong drink.
Yep.
That word wasn't in the lexicon.
Yeah.
You can't convince a person. Now, I'm not talking about the merits of whether they're good or bad, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows what a soft drink is. How about the horseless carriage? Here's a
Mm-hmm.
devil's advocate take a position. What's a horseless carriage? There was a time in our
Yeah.
world if you say automobile back in the 17th or 18th or 19th century, let's say 18th, they look at you sideways and go, what are you talking about? But the very first horseless carriage was built and ran in London in 1803.
Okay. So what about this? So now your product is American. I'm Canadian. So I already have to convert my price to be higher. So we wouldn't get it technically for the same cost as what it's being sold
Mm.
for because our dollars are different. Number one.
Mm. Mm.
Let's say this works and we are super excited that we're seeing a change and we want to get more and more, but we don't have the funding for it. because it is considered a privatized, it's health and well-being, right? So like when you and I were chatting before, you know that I went through breast cancer and I go through I do a lot of naturopathy. So I do intravenous vitamins. That's $180 a pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do acupuncture. That's $100 a pop. And I do it every 2 to 3 weeks. So that adds up over time, right? Including trying to eat cleaner and then also taking different types of supplements. And my supplements are expensive because I go through a dispensary and people are weird about naturopathic remedies. To me, this is a naturopathic aspect because all you're doing is you're taking regular, everyday material and you're throwing some electrodes in it to help shake it up. And then you're also creating a balance of how much you're putting into each into the product itself. It's not like 1 tablespoon of salt and 3 tablespoons of
it is
like
not.
it
It is
is
a
it is
patented.
a
Yeah, it's
that's right. And
patented.
it's a
Yeah,
patented blend, but but you guys are electrocuting it, correct? In order to shake up those molecules?
There's an electronic process. Let me give you this
Okay.
example to help you. And this is why I say for the people who are trying to present this information is not to try to sell or convince anybody that it works or that
Mhm.
it doesn't, but it is to give them the explanation of what they are and how they work. So one simple explanation we've been shared with are these molecules are so tiny, but it takes gravity to take a molecule to
Yep.
go to a lower state. So let's say we're talking about the example given is sodium chloride. That's a
Okay.
salt. Well, what
Yep.
makes salt dissolve in H2O in water? Because it's going from a high energy state to a low energy state. The
Hmm.
energy that you were referring to a moment ago is
Yep.
in our mitochondria in every single cell, and it's called adenosine triphosphate, ATP. This has
Yep.
nothing to do with pharmacy, has nothing to do with supplements. That's how the cells work. So the energy that we either have less mitochondria or more. And
Hmm.
again, that's a genetic thing. Everybody's different, right? But what they have found is that to go from a high energy state to a low energy state, the component is called gravity.
Hmm.
And then that electron transfer, that's what it is. That's where the process comes. What you're giving a positive ion to a negative ion, and it dissolves in water. Say, for example, salt. That's what they found. The interesting
Hmm.
thing is that to go from a high energy state to a low energy is not just electrolysis. Some of that is gravity. Just like when you get tired through a day, if you've been working out, respiration is a redox biochemical process. Breathing
Yep.
in, you're taking in oxygen. Breathing out, you're giving CO2, carbon
Yep.
dioxide.
Yep.
The problem is that some of us can't exercise, maybe genetically. Maybe we don't have the limbs or the muscle awareness or strength or whatever. But the
Hmm.
process is still native. You can't take a pill and like Popeye, like for example, you can't eat spinach and all of a sudden your biceps and you pop out your arms up. But we know that nutrition, not the supplement, not the molecules, nutrition, your macronutrients, like your fats, your proteins, your carbohydrates, and water. That's macro. There are 40 different micronutrients along with their enzymes and cofactors and peptides. So
Okay.
a lot of us are deficient in either or both. So we need to supplement our diet. The only problem is the food that is being grown today, 90, I won't know what the percentage is, but it's a large percentage is genetically modified. So it's not like
Yep.
real whatever. And it doesn't matter what market you live in or
Hmm.
economics. Yes, here's why I say that. Maybe the soil in Canada is better than in the US, in North America. Or maybe
Hmm.
soil is better in Africa versus Australia or Indonesia. Here's the point. The company, ASEA, is in today over 35 markets. All right. And those economies of scale and the product is shipped worldwide. It's a global company. It's just manufactured in Utah, Pleasant Grove, Utah.
Hmm.
Here's the other side of the coin. ASEA, like most other companies, don't have anything to do with the exchange rate. So whatever the dollar is, whether it's here, London, Indonesia, Taiwan, Japan, Turkey, Europe, we're all subject to those economies and the pressures that come with them. But I'll ask you this question because you just named some dollars. How, when people tell me, oh, this is expensive or I can't afford that, balance that against your health and then I'll ask the question, how long do you want to live if what you need is going to sustain your life? How expensive is that? And the question as a devil's
Hmm.
advocate really is you then really have to balance your mindset about what's important to you and how much revenue, your revenue gap is. Here's what I have or what I don't have, and how do I feel that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they found a way using a model called network marketing, where
Mm-hmm.
you're your own boss, right? Your own guy or gal in charge. And if they send you a referral check because you sent somebody to them, all the
Mm-hmm.
better, because that's how this product should be from its original concept, through word of mouth, not putting it on billboards, and it's not sold in retail stores. The
Mm-hmm.
company chose that model and paying out 50% of its revenue to the
Yeah.
people who are doing the job. Real simple model.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think what happens is that, especially for someone like me, when someone says like, what is your health worth to you? It's a hard pill to swallow in the sense that it doesn't, I first of all, most trades are middle class. Okay.
Mhm,
They're not making, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay.
mhm,
These boys and girls on the ground that are busting their backs and whatnot and learning the trades are, they're lucky if they're in a six-figure salary. They're lucky.
mhm,
And,
mhm,
and then they've got a lot of times, depending on their family situation, if they've got a family of, three or four, so two kids and a wife, or two kids,
mhm,
or whatever the
mhm.
case may be, they have a lot to pay for, especially in this day and age. And Dr. T, you know this to be true with how many people are divorcing and ugly lawsuits and this, that, and the other thing. And all they want to do is go to work, go home, spend time with their kids, and feel good about themselves, but they're spending an extra five, six, seven, $10,000 a month fighting someone for no reason. Okay, so
Let me
you've
put
got the
this.
people that, what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying, is
I
that it's
do.
hard because it's like, my health is important, my peace is important. I don't want to fight with you, but I'm not going to give up my children or the opportunity to see my children because you're angry with me,
Let's
right?
put your analogy and what you just said to in a different, uh,
Okay.
same but different, to the man or woman. And I'll even use my own. My daughter
Okay.
was born with retinitis pigmentosa.
Okay.
My wife and I knew each other since high school. We're both 69. My
Okay.
baby, the one I'm referring to, is 24 years of age. Drives a
Mm-hmm.
car, has visual
Mm-hmm.
acuity, but she is
Mm-hmm.
blind from her periphery. When it's
Okay.
dusk, we used to tease her about being what a vampire meant. She can't go out at night because she's
Mm-hmm.
blind. And when I say blind, means you cannot see. I
Mm-hmm.
remember in her freshman year when she had a concussion, and I was
Mm-hmm.
teaching at her school. They rushed and got me because she had a concussion. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody came to me, and we were talking about these things earlier on with her specialist there was an institute in Chicago called the Chicago Lighthouse for the Blind.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of your blindness, that's where she was for about 4 or 5 years, learning how
Yep.
to navigate, how to read Braille, how to do all these things, get tested. But here's my point when I mentioned this. You have a child born with cancer. If
Mm-hmm.
Danny Kaye, who used to be a talk show guy, comedian, variety show guy back in the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
40s, 50s, had
Mm-hmm.
not started St. Jude Hospital, where
Mm-hmm.
parents can bring their seriously afflicted child and be there and get treatment for free for the same reason you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There are some individuals in the world who see that, Lisa, and they recognize all the points that you made, and there are
Mm-hmm.
institutions where they can do this. Now, keep in mind, there's a technology. I only heard about it 4.5 years ago. It was born
Mm-hmm.
in 2009. They've been studying this stuff for hundreds of years. But
Yeah.
a gentleman who's going to be on my show that I'm hosting on
Mm-hmm.
Alignable, Dr. Gary Samuelson, was the lead atomic physicist who helped stabilize those things back in '07, '08. And it was in
Mm-hmm.
1998 when they even heard about nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm.
This gentleman is going to be on a program that I get to host. And to have somebody of his renown who's as humble as God can make any of us humble, Lisa,
Yeah.
to be able to share what this stuff, not about the company, just how do we stay healthy? How do we do what he and other learned people do, goes back to
Yep.
this question. Now that we have the kinds of technologies that we could share with people, that they can investigate, they can find out for themselves. And today, after 15 years, going on 16, There's only one company in the world, because of their patents, because of their trade secrets and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Go back to soft drink. When the Coca-Cola came around and they found a way to distribute it, they used bottling and vending machines. Didn't mean that that's the only soft drink in the world. Ask Pepsi and 7 Up and all these other brands now.
Hmm.
Ford isn't the only vehicle brand that we drive today. And I forget what some of the companies in the trades brands, are, but there's not one brand. There are different kinds of machinery and equipment that they use. But guess what?
Yep.
If you worked in the tobacco fields in any part of the world and
Hmm.
somebody rolled you up a nice one, forget what
Hmm.
country, but you gotta, you're smoking it, the product,
Yep.
and somebody says, that's bad for you, but this is how you're earning a living.
Hmm.
You'll say, yeah, it's bad for you, but this is how I'm, paying for my hut, my house, my whatever.
Hmm.
In the trades, I believe that there are people who are suffering
Hmm.
and don't even have the information, Lisa, that you have to even make that decision to say, should I pay for my medication today? Let's say it was a pharmaceutical drug, which it's not, but I got to
Yep.
pay for my medicine or my supplements versus
Hmm.
putting gas in my car today. And you
Yep.
know what the dilemma is? People
Hmm.
like organizations that I've been a part of in the financial services industry, if I can offer you an opportunity to make extra money and at the same time help people, again, that model of network marketing, word of
Hmm.
mouth, offers, I think, a, a, a business model that gives you both freedom
Hmm.
and an opportunity, but but it's not a job. And nobody's going to walk up to you and hand you a bucket of money just because you're blind, deaf, dumb, or have this disease or that. We are
Hmm.
what we are, and we are where we are. But if you find a way for someone to help distribute that solution to families, to people, whether
100%.
you do it on scale or over the picket fence. There was another young Canadian who interviewed me last year named Sarah Troy. You might have heard of Sarah, but she's in, I forgot what province. But anyway, Sarah and I were talking about this, and she used that picket fence analogy because she's
Hmm.
in the health and wellness. If my neighbor can talk to me about a solution, now maybe I can't afford it, but give me the right to say, let me hear about it so I can
Yeah.
make my own decision.
That's right.
That's what I'm advocating, is that if long as people have the information,
Hmm.
yes, it's expensive, but then I ask the question, compared to what? Not just because it's
I
your health, but
agree.
compared to
Yeah.
what?
I agree. And I think where I'm going with my giving you this scenario of what, what a lot of people are dealing with in Canada and probably in the States is where they're
Mhm.
feeling a lot of pressure to ensure that they're providing accordingly or, that they can continue to, have some sort of value in life, right?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
agree with you. I think that this is something that's amazing and that should be, more people should know about it, especially when you're doing a very intense physical labored position. So, my question to you when it comes to this scenario is if they were to do a 30-day supply
Mhm.
and they were to say, I feel great, it's a great product, I want to continue it, but I'm struggling to do the next month. So, let's
Here's
say
what, here's,
so you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
where, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like
I
that instant
do.
gratification. It's like, I need to feel fixed right now. I don't know if I can buy it again next month, but I want to try this. I want to be a part of it.
Here's what's recommended. Okay, one tube is 43 US bucks, right?
Okay.
If I said to you, Lisa, would you like to get this for free? What would you say to me?
Yes.
And I say, here's the criteria, and I can show you in writing. It only costs 40 US dollars to be a part of our org, to be part of the company, to represent it. And
Okay.
all that does is gives you access to information, but it will allow you to refer this to somebody else. And they
Hmm.
buy a tube or they buy 4 tubes, but we recommend it one shot for the 30-day money back. And they
Hmm.
give you 20% of what this costs. Let's say it costs $100
Hmm.
US. I
Hmm.
don't know what that comes in Canada. I don't, you can do the translation. But the point is, because you told somebody else about it and they
Hmm.
tried it and they
Yeah.
send you a thank you check, is there any reason that you wouldn't want to tell somebody else?
Well, no, if something works, I mean, you become its cheerleader, right? If something works and it's proven and you've seen results and you didn't feel that you put yourself in harm's way to feel those results, you will scream it from the mountaintops. That goes the same hand in hand with trades, right? If you've got a great tradesman that you know is really great, you're going to sing their praises.
I hear that all the time, but now let me be the devil advocate in that scenario.
Okay.
Somebody says, yeah, it worked for Lisa because she's cute, or she's got long black hair, or she lives in Canada, and she's got a husband and the kid. And wait a minute, time out. Do you remember me saying this is a technology that works at the cellular and the genetic level?
Mm-hmm.
Just because aspirin relieves a headache doesn't mean that that's going to work for me and my body. For example, because I have a particular cardiac challenge, I can no longer take ibuprofen. I learned that when I was hospitalized with a chest pain, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. And of course, I didn't either. My doctorates, I have two, is in education and organizational leadership in business. As smart as I think I am, I cannot diagnose my own maladies. So watch this. I'm in the hospital in emergency overnight, chest pain, and they do all their testing. And they said, oh, Dr. Hill, because you have congestive heart failure, we can't give you ibuprofen. I said, why? I've been doing it all, since, because people with CHF, ibuprofen decreases the oxygen to your heart, which will lead to, if you continue to take it, atrial fibrillation. Now, I just learned this 2 years ago, Lisa. Let me ask you a stupid question. You're laying in a hospital bed. They're giving you a drug. You see all these people with white coats and stethoscope. You don't know what they know. They just say, here, take this, or they put something in an IV and they're giving it to you, so you're feeling better. But then there was a test when they found out that my heart stopped beating 19 times a night, and they couldn't figure out why. They go, oh, shit. I'm sorry. But oh, crap. We gave you ibuprofen. And now they're telling me, well, if we continue this, it'll lead to, I said, first of all, now that you told me, you're not giving it to me, and I ain't taking it. You find another way. They call it the brand Tylenol or acetaminophen. So just because this technology works, and we know it works on 90% of the people, 100% of the time, because these molecules impact our mitochondria. And at the genetic level, it's called an NRF2 gene that opens up 15 other pathways. So think of these molecules as I'm playing all 88 keys on the piano. It's so foundational to life, you cannot live without these four. But maybe in your body, it works faster. Maybe in your body, if once we know your age, weight, and I don't mean you have to be a doctor to do this, to say you've already lost at 50 years of age, half of these molecules, right? So long story short, people in any profession, especially trades, who want relief or who want to be better, feel better, look better, right? Try it and see what happens. There's a 30-day guarantee. But guess what? If it does happen and you start shouting, here's what I'm going to say to you. People don't do that. No, Doc, that's wrong. After 4.5 years, let me tell you why I know it's not. You said it earlier. It works for a little while. They put it in, they try it, they tell a few people it works, and then they get to that inflection point, like you said, they can't continue. So I've said, whether you're a customer or you're an affiliate or associate, why wouldn't you keep telling people about this and let them make up their own mind? And let them make up their own mind. But here's the other caveat. How many times, whether you have a gas vehicle, an electric vehicle, steam, whatever, transportation, you're using your own vehicle and you only charge it if it's electric one time, or you only put fuel in the tank once. How far will you go and for how long? These things are in us. We were born with them. We just lose 1% a year. Since I've learned about it, I sacrifice, this is Thomas, to buy this every month. There's a plan that I get for like $2.15. I don't have to pay shipping. That's a lot for a lot of people. That's a lot of do-re-mi. But guess what? With congestive heart failure, diabetes, high blood pressure, and I'm good looking, fat, black, bald, and handsome. Oh, wait, that's not a disease. I want to maintain, you like that one? I want to maintain this. There are not many 60-year-olds who've got skin like mine, who look like me, genetically or otherwise, because they haven't had the opportunity to hear about this and make up their own mind.
Oh, Dr. T, we all know black don't crack.
I heard that too. You heard that? Well, I've
You're
seen
just
some
trying to
ugly black
lie,
people
dude.
now. Hold on. I've seen some ugly black people now. Hold on now. I've seen some ugly white folk too. But you know what's interesting? At the H to H level, I call human to human level. This is what I love about what I do, even on Alignable.
Yeah.
I get people to agree to go H to H. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to sell you my company, my organization. I'm talking about the brand called YOU.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for you, Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
you ran across me at the right time because I like you. And I share something. And even the guy, you're counting people, Paul. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? You know, and I do. How many times have I called you like, hey, Lisa, I'm so hungry. I'm starving. I got to make money. Let me call you. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you reached out and that's who we are and what we do, H to H, is why I said, you doing what? Oh, yeah, girl, come on, let's talk. Because there's no money involved. It's not monetized. This is a friend talking to a friend.
Yeah.
And hopefully I've said enough things to your audience to say, I see why you like Dr. Hill. He's funny. Yeah, but he's also, besides being good looking, black ball and handsome, he's got a message that he's not forcing something down my throat. He's
Mm-hmm.
asking me to be skeptical. He's asking me to try it. And if you want a plan or have a plan of helping as many people as you can to get a thank you check from ASEA, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, because guess what? I don't pay for my product, sweetheart. I've
Mm-hmm.
talked to enough people where I get paid every week and every
Mm-hmm.
month it pays for itself. That's me. There are
Yeah.
people doing a lot better than me, and there's some who are
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot worse. But it's what
Yep.
I'm putting into it that causes the checks to keep flowing.
So let me ask you a question. What about
Mhm.
pain? So I my very best friend that I love to death, we've been friends for over 30 years, was in a horrific car accident over a year ago. And she ended up with a couple of different diagnoses. I think there's a part of me that just wants to shake the medical community, to be honest with you. And I feel like she's slipping through the cracks and she's in so much pain. And the things that she would do every day are a challenge for her. And
Yeah,
it breaks my heart because she's so full of piss and vinegar. She's really funny. I mean, like she's like semi-depressed but really funny about it. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah. You know
mean?
what I love
Because
about you, what you just said, and I'm sorry I didn't let you finish because
no,
I,
no,
I
go
think
ahead.
I know your heart. Look, I've had a number of people. I just had a gentleman who came in the lineup with us, Bill Doer, just died December 15th, was
I'm
sick
sorry to
the
hear that.
entire year. I was beta testing his system on, introducing people and prospecting and stuff. And, it's a crime if you have something that will help people to
Hmm.
not tell them.
Right.
And it's another crime for us as spouses to know we have something, but we won't share that with our spouse to say, what do you think, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Bill died, and I was talking with his widow who I'd never met. And like your friend, there's something that I believe would help your friend as you are going to convince yourself and say, well, wait a minute, Dr. T said something. I'm going to try it. But she
Hmm.
needs this. Guess what?
Hmm.
No matter what your conviction about what this is and what it's
Hmm.
done for you, this is something biblical. I'm sorry, I got to do it to you again.
Go.
But this is scripture that says, Jesus says, according to your faith be it unto you. You
Hmm.
don't have to even be a believer. How about confidence in yourself?
Hmm.
That there is something that you want to do to change your life. Not your
Hmm.
mama, not your daddy, no, not your spouse, not your kids, not your friends, can make you do what you need. Now, if your girlfriend, your friend loves you, believes in you, and you're coming to her from a spirit of conviction that says, look, I know Dr. T. No, he ain't God and I ain't either. But you know what? What I believe, let's call her Jane for right now.
Hmm.
Jane, I'm going to try something and I would love for you to do it as well. But make up
Hmm.
your own mind. My
Yeah.
buddy who passed, when I sent him the information, my last conversation, Lisa, with him, like I'm talking to you, we did a video, was
Hmm.
November 29th. December 15th, he was gone. The
Hmm.
complications from the immune therapy that he was taking, you know about that.
Hmm.
You know how your port has to be. You know all that stuff.
Hmm.
Got a cold, got pneumonia. I won't
Hmm.
tell you the whole story. But
Hmm.
as he got it, he went to the hospital. He called me and said, I'm going to the hospital. They put him on a breathing tube because he never could breathe on his own. And
Okay.
while in the hospital, had 2 strokes.
Mm.
So when it was time to try to wean him off the oxygen, the body had said, can't do it.
Yeah.
He never got this. He never mentioned it to his wife. And I was saying conflicting, saying, I'm not even telling her what I gave to Bill, and I thought I knew would help him, but he never got it. And when I was talking to her about the kinds of stroke brain that I've learned about because of my
Yeah.
affiliation with these people, I love Joyce. That's her name, Joyce Dewar. I didn't bring it up, but I did send her the material that I try to send everybody to check it out for themselves, what their particular situation is. And they have to make up their own mind. And sometimes it's not even about cost. If there's just, we call it hope in a bottle. And some people are better at convincing others than, and I'm not saying it to you, but I am saying if you love someone enough to open your mouth, have enough faith in them, but to let them decide what's best for them is where I come from, like a Ralph Nader kind of guy that says, and I did it in financial services, I'm not paying for your insurance premium. I'm only going to share with you what type of products you can buy. I know London Life is huge in Canada. We used to eat them for lunch back in the 80s and 90s because we were educating people about buying term insurance and not cash value. Because the cash value product was better for the representative because they made a lot more money than selling a term product.
Yeah.
And those of us who did that, were spit on it and said poo-poo, and you guys are just trying to, put us out of business. No. If the consumer is not educated, they cannot make an informed decision. I don't care what your occupation is. I bring that kind of spirit to this technology and say, I don't have to convince anybody. I know it works. It's been working for me. My cardiologist, my endocrinologist, my medical team, they're not surprised because I've done this with them. I said, you should be telling all your patients about this. And my endocrinologist said this to me on December 4th. I think I might even share this with you. There was a book that I read by a cardiologist who wrote something called Wheat Belly, WHEAT.
Heard of it.
Belly. Well, I was on it back in 2015. And the second book he wrote, Dr. William Davis, was called Wheat Belly, Total Health. Now, I didn't know anything about Redox, but when I combine these two now, I've been a diabetic since 1996. My endocrinologist said just last month on the 4th of December, Dr. Hill, what was that book you told me about? Because my A1C has been between 5 and 6 for 2 years. That's a person who's not even pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
My blood pressure is in the 120s over 70s. And for a 69-year-old, that's pretty super duper.
Yeah, it's
For
good.
my cardiologist, when I had an echocardiogram, all the numbers came back normal, but with this one exception, because what I have is called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. We've even done the genetic testing. It means that my heart is really huge. I mean, it is anyway, but I mean, my physical heart, Lisa, is so large that it has constricted the left ventricle, and so not much blood and fluid flows through it. Now, this isn't going to reverse that. But guess what? All my numbers from my card is like, dude, just keep doing what you're doing. We believe in you. And so my ejection fraction or fraction numbers are normal for a 69-year-old, but I'm not going to grow another heart. The tissues are going to do what they do, but I'm stable enough to say I can do anything I want to do within reason. I'm not going to the Olympics. All right. I do know I need to move more. I need to rest more. I need to eat better. But I'm like everybody else. And occasionally I'll sneak in a McDonald's something, or I'll have an Oreo. Well, I won't eat Oreos anymore because I found out what they do. I know, Lisa. But isn't that beautiful to say that you, as a friend to me, and vice versa, I can be vulnerable and say, look, I'm not doing everything they said to do, but I'm not going
Me
to stop
neither.
taking this stuff. I'm not moving like I used to, but I do my physical therapy exercises because 2 years ago, 3 now, because of the osteoarthritis, and I just learned in September, I have no cartilage in my left hip. Now, I know better that I can eat certain foods and that will grow. It will come back. It will. It won't be back like I'm 20, but I don't have any pain.
That's good.
The procedures that I have had from the fluoroscopies in my back, from the from my disc at the L2, L3 level trying to do a breakout, and it
Yep.
ran into my spinal cord and said, "We want to leave." And my spinal cord saying, "No, you can't do that." And the stenosis is a narrowing, right,
Mm-hmm.
of arteries or the spinal cord, and paralyzed me for a couple months. So what I'm saying to you is not made up. I just know I don't have that pain because I apply this stuff. And you see, I keep it like right next to me, not
Yep.
for purposes like this, but to say, Lisa, your friend and anybody you know would
Mm-hmm.
benefit if you tell them. But if you don't tell them, how will they know?
Well, here's the thing. So I love my best girlfriend very much, and I am very much all about trying everything. And because I'm more of on that natural wave, because for me, I don't go against Western medicine. I wish Western medicine and naturopathy work together. I really do. And it would be so beneficial, especially because I'm not scared of going under the knife. I'm not scared of surgeries, nothing like that. I know what the risks are, blah, 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 but I'm still not scared. I'll take surgery over chemotherapy and over radiation any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I'm not scared of that. But, to help with the rehabilitation and to help with prevention and preventative, because this is both a rehabilitation and a preventative.
It
So for
is.
me, I'm asking you if it's something that you've heard more when it comes to like possibly like a fibromyalgia or like it
Absolutely.
were. So if you're saying that, then see, because I'll go out and I will buy everything. Like I will buy a tube of that just for her to try it. I need her to have
Absolutely.
some
Absolutely.
relief. So
It,
I don't have any problem of, when this call is over being like, send me a form. I'm getting some.
well, you know what's
I need her to
interesting?
feel better.
I sent you, back a few, months ago, it's still
Mhm.
good, that shopping cart. So you can,
Oh, okay.
in the privacy of your own home, just fill it out and
Yeah.
do it. But let me say this to you. There's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
site that I will send you and your readers are welcome to, or your listeners. There's a
Yes.
site, and maybe this isn't good business sense, but it is people wise. The site is called Real Redox Results, altogether, realredoxresults.com, and it's password protected. You want to put in for the password Redox, Redox, lowercase. Now, there are over 150 different testimonials and different things, and you can look up people. It doesn't list diseases now, it only lists symptoms. But when you do that, Lisa, and you
Mm-hmm.
find something, that would be you using the tool, not being the tool. Because people will look at you and say, "Wait a minute, you're in the trades. How do you learn all this stuff?" I have a friend in the States who I love dearly, who just shared with me this information, and guess what? I'm not a part of his company. I don't get any money from it, but he gave
Mm-hmm.
it to me. Now, watch this. Since it only costs $40 to be part of our team and have access to this information, and I just gave you a site for free because it is free. And
I
not that
put
I'm
it in your
saying you
case. If you look down below, you'll see it. If you look down below, you'll see it. I put it in there in your title. Can you see it?
oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, look at you. Okay, I see it now. Well, thank you, ma'am. But
You're
that's
welcome.
some information that those who don't have faith, those who don't believe,
Mm-hmm.
those who need more science,
Yeah.
for example, scientific stuff, I just gave it to you. Why? Because I care about you and those who. But watch this. Now, if I'm being selfish and I'm saying, "Lisa, I want you to be selfish. I want you to join my team and, help me out and do that." That's stupid. Let me tell you why I think it's stupid. If your motivation is not truly being the consumer advocate, like you're being the devil's advocate, and
Mm-hmm.
giving people access to the information,
Yeah.
not everybody wants to do business with Dr. Hill. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to do business with Lisa. But
Right.
if Lisa is the repository of information that helps them help a loved one, then what would stop you from enrolling and being a part of us at ASEA, or being a part of your team, let's call it, or just
Mm-hmm.
being able to access, how do I get it? You don't buy this
Mm-hmm.
online. It's not available on eBay and what's the other one? Amazon.
Yep.
Because the founders of this company said we wanted to be with education and through network marketing. It's not just selling a product.
Yeah.
It's educating people and saying you do have loved ones, you do have friends, we do have
Yep.
people who need to hear first and then try. That's what the 30-day money back
Yeah.
guarantee. That's where you can get
Well,
free
yeah.
product.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like my significant other is in trades. And I know that like right now, like even though I've gone through cancer, I know that, at 43 years old, I should not be feeling, everything that's going on inside. Like my hips are hurting. And even though I go to acupuncture and I do all these things, I'm like, so like it's beneficial for everybody. It's
It
not
is.
a one-stop shop, but it's a start to
Yeah,
to put back the things in your body that
absolutely.
have depleted. You're just replenishing your body with the things it needs, right?
That's it. And you know what? The medical people, some of those who I listen to and follow, say there are four things. I invented one on my own because this happened to me last year. There are four things that Redox doesn't do. You ready?
Yep.
And I'll start with the most egregious. It doesn't cure stupid. I don't care how much you take, internal or external. Number two, it won't stop you from dying. We all have a day. Here's another scripture, Psalms 90. Go look at it. Three score and 10. Okay. Number three, it doesn't prevent viruses or bacteria, but it enables your body to resupplement, to help your
Hmm.
lymphocytes, to help your immune system fight and tell those cells that are abnormal, like you've had and others,
Yep.
hey, the message to them is stop growing. Keep in mind, abnormal cells, like Dr. Dixon said just 2 nights ago, when we have abnormal cell growth, their DNA message is keep growing because that's what the whole process, human egg, human sperm, no matter whether it's human, plant, or animal, the mitochondria, the cells that keep growing. Here's the
Hmm.
problem. If you don't have the signal to stop, and that transfer of oxygen molecules, we know today as free radicals, but when the metabolic syndromes or your immune systems is haywire because the signals are funky, wonky,
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
adjective you want, they're not getting the right message to, hey, let's take care of that. Let's eat that. Let's get rid of it.
Yep.
They keep growing. And here's
Yep.
the other side of that. So I named stupid. You can't die. You're going to still die. You're going to have bacteria and viruses. And even with this long COVID people are, dealing with. Dr. Dixon said this the other day. Homeostasis
Hmm.
is a scientific term that means that the cells, every single cell in the body is healthy when it's balanced. It means it's not too alkaline or too acidic.
Yep.
Every single cell that's healthy is in homeostasis. The problem is, genetically or otherwise, when that's off balance, the body has to fight to keep it in balance, and it's operating at every nanosecond, whether it's heart,
Yep.
liver, sky, eyeball, skin. It can't do all of these jobs at the same time
It's true.
without proper nutrition, without movement, without more redox supplementation, without rest, without, again, macro and micronutrients. We need it all.
Hmm.
So, what's the solution? What you just said. Get
Hmm.
it, give it, thank people, show people, share it with people, let them try. And the
Yeah,
more we do
absolutely.
that, the better our communities and our people that we love will be better off.
And to add to that, because you're absolutely correct, but to add to that, and this is, and we are human, and when I went on my journey, I believed in my life force. And when you believe in your life force, you nourish it accordingly.
Yes.
But you know what? We are, creatures of habit and do like our guilty pleasures. And when Christmas
Yes.
comes around, let me tell you, like creams and cakes and cookies and
That's
cheese is
right.
just,
All
I'm like,
confectionery.
you only live once. I'm gonna eat this, gain a couple pounds, and
Yeah.
I'll work it off in the springtime. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not my New Year's resolution to work it off. It's just my resolution,
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
But
That's right.
I would never tell somebody not to do something in moderation. If
Yes.
every once a month you want to gorge in on, fast food or my, do you want my guilty pleasure is
Come
fried
on.
chicken. It's bad. Fried
Fried
chicken.
chicken.
Fried
Oh
chicken
my
is my
goodness.
guilty
Look at
pleasure.
you.
I
Look
will
at
go to
you.
Popeyes and I will order me a 3-piece meal. And let me tell you, I will eat it like it's my last meal. Let me tell you.
Well, we have that in common, but one thing I've learned to do, there are some things that you can learn to do without. You just got to pick a different one. So
Yeah.
while Popeyes was mine like yours,
Hmm.
I learned that what they put in their food keeps us addicted to keep it. And I learned that again from
Hmm.
Dr.
Yeah.
Davis's book about wheat belly. The things that the food industry is not telling the public that keeps us addicted to these guilty pleasures.
Mm-hmm.
Once you learn, there's a saying about, when you learn, when you what is it? You know better, you do better.
Yep.
Generally. But the other side is that's the thing about growing. That's the thing about
Mm-hmm.
our mindset. That's the thing about the people that we have in our lives. I've learned this since I've talked with you last year. There are people on my team who are fighting abnormal cell growth now. I've got
Mm-hmm.
allopathic people on my team, medical team. I have homeopathic people. I've got naturopath people. I mean, on my team. I don't have to go to
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody else. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and when I had the oncologist, and keep in mind, this is an oncologist in
Mm-hmm.
Arizona
Okay.
who's ordering and putting his people on Redox. There's a
Love
certain
that.
quantity that they have to have, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
minimum of 8. Anywhere to the bottle is 36 ounces, right?
Yeah.
Do you know he called me like last month and was so excited? One, it's documented. Two, it's his patient. Three,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be doing conferences on an 80-year-old who had Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
whose family had taken away his keys.
Mm-hmm.
He had him on 16 ounces a day for 90 days. They gave him back his keys. They've got it documented that the man has been restored in the
Love
brain, that the tissues are being replaced, and they're astounded. But I won't say the doctor's name because I don't want to,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when he called on my team, said, Dr. Hill, I know you've been telling me and other people have been saying it, but I'm witnessing it now. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell all my colleagues in the medical profession to be creative. But guess what? Here's the other thing. This is big pharma. This is how much pressure big pharma puts on the medical profession.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter, who's a vet, says, when I was telling her about this stuff, she says, Dad, I can't offer any other supplement because my contract with, let's call it ABC company,
Mm-hmm.
I would lose my license to
Yep.
practice medicine if I offer some pharmaceutical that's not in keeping with them.
It's true.
Sweetheart,
It's
the
true.
technology that this big, we're going to, tomorrow, put this for your site tomorrow. Watch this. It's called www. uppercase D, discover, capital A, ASEA, capital A, SEA.com. Every Friday at, let me say, to get the time zones right. For me, it's 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and whatever mountain time that fits between us and right?
I'm Mountain Time.
You're an hour behind me then, right? 2 hours if you're Pacific. Tomorrow, that's free too. No
Mm-hmm.
password. Tune in. Not just ask my guests, tell everybody you know, Lisa, but here's what's going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hear something just like I am for the very first time. Let's pretend you hear the word gold. And none of us know how to prospect for gold. We just know what it's worth. And somebody said, there's gold in their hills. That's going to be tomorrow, 8
Mm-hmm.
Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. www.discoverasea.com. Every Friday, they have these medical people come on. Please be my guest. And when people say to you, Lisa, how'd you hear about this? And we always ask this of our guests. Get back to the person who invited you. Now, let's pretend, Lisa, just pretend with me for a moment that you gave this to your listeners and 100 people tuned in or went to and it's also recorded. There's another way to get this information.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and we say, well, get back to the person who invited you. Just happened to be you. Now, I'm going to ask you a very stupid question right now. Lisa, if 100 people said, how do I get it? And it was you who invited them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'd probably want to, be a member on my team so that people can get the product from you and that you can get it to them and they can just enroll without you having to do a whole lot of nothing? And that's not the reason you
Yes
did
and
it.
no. I mean, I
That's
want
not
to
the
give
reason
them
you
the
did it.
opportunity. I mean, of course, if I can do something to make their life better, absolutely. But if it comes down to, how did you hear about it? Well, Dr. Thomas Hill.
And I
whatever,
say
like
this
for
to
me, the
people,
flow of traffic is the flow of traffic. As long as they've got the right route, they got the map and the directions, I'm good to go.
but I just
So
say
it's a
that to
yes and no
you.
question.
I
You know what
say
I
that
mean?
to you for, as I said, it was a stupid question, but I say it to those who are hurting. They have to say
Yeah.
to themselves, Lisa gave me the pathway to stand on my
Yeah.
own 2 feet and get this done. And I think it's appropriate because I did it for 45 years. It's not
Hmm.
about taking something out of your mouth when I'm trying to put something in it. And if you
Yeah.
choose to say, oh no, go see Dr. Hill, I'm happy too because I'm not going to send a check back. I'm glad you gave it to me, Lisa. But you know what?
Yep.
Because of the heart that I have for people and you invited them, why shouldn't they connect with you?
Hmm. Hey, Dr. T, do me a favor. Look down at your screen. I put Discover. I think, is that how you spell it? ASEA,
Yeah, but it's an
ASCA.
uppercase D, uppercase A.
Okay.
Because it'll be a Zoom, it'll be a webinar. So
Oh,
everything,
geez.
just the first
Knocking things
letter.
over.
Huh?
All
Oh,
right,
what
hang on.
happened? Yeah,
Let's see.
uppercase D, discover, uppercase A, ASEA, ASCA. Wait,
ASCA.
ASEA,
Okay.
ASEA.com. Is that an A or a
ASEA.
C? Looks like you have a C there.
Yeah, I do.
ASEA.
I got it. I got it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There we go. There you
Bada
go.
boom, bada bing.
There. There we
Look
go.
at you.
I
You're
know.
just
I'm,
using
I'm
you're just
brain thing. I
using
ain't even
all
gonna
of the
lie.
tools.
What's that?
You're just using all of the tools correctly.
Oh, I have to. I mean, if people are really interested in doing something like this and they want to go, I need to make sure that I have it written down for them, because
Yes.
that way they can access it. They're not like, oh my God, how do I get to this? Because a lot of times, like, my podcasts aren't live. So this wouldn't actually air
Good.
until like a couple of weeks from now. So I'm
Good.
like, I'll go to it and I'll mention it to a few people. I'll send it out to a few people for
Yeah.
sure if they want to
Yeah.
take a look at it.
Yes.
But when it airs, at least I have it on the actual screen so people can see it and they can go, because you said they're recorded, which
Yes.
is great.
And the fact that if you do decide to come tomorrow,
Mm,
I I like you are like, well, that's what Dr. T kept telling me all along. This is
yeah.
about access to the information, and hopefully the person, when you hear who invited you, may say, oh, well, Lisa told me, or they may have heard about it eons ago and
Mm,
say, and they'll call that
yeah.
person and say, hey, is that this thing you're doing? And this is new. You didn't have that before. Well, guess what? I don't
Yeah.
even know what it's about. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited that they have something that they weren't sitting on their laurels and just scooping in money. Or it's not that. Not for me, and it's not that for
Yeah.
the organization. It's you have access to the same thing that I have access to, and what you do with it is up to you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna conclude us, but I'm gonna tell you
Yes.
something that I love about you, Dr. T, and the reason why I know when I came back to send out the emails for people, when I pivoted in my podcast and said I want resources
Yeah.
for the people that I'm here to provide a platform for. I
Yes.
want resources for them, and you came up in my head, and it's funny because they always say when you talk about reciprocity and you talk about having people in your corner that mirror what your truths are, what your
Mhm.
missions are. And it's funny, I get into rooms with people who say to me, you should charge for your services, Lisa. And I say, charge for what services? Well, you're a master connector. A lot of people know who you are. You're always bringing people together. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? It's information. And if I am privy to the information and I know this person A can help person B, why wouldn't I just introduce them? Why does that need to why do I need to capitalize on that?
No.
Right? And
Yep.
then in the same thing, it was the same thing with podcasting. You should charge people to come on your show. Well, why the hell would I do that?
Yep.
I want people to see the wonder, the splendor, the what is out there. I want people to be a part of what I'm a part of, which is just being honest and raw and open and like take a ride with me on this journey.
That's why I
Yeah.
am. I may not be the number one raving fan. Tell your husband he's got competition because I want everybody to know about you. But here again, one of my teammates and the people who God has brought to me to be able to put them on the platform and have this forum for them.
Yeah.
My boy goes, actually, I won't say his name, but I'll say this. He's my birthday twin. We were born on the exact same day. We're just 20 years apart, right? He
Yep.
goes, Doc, I was just thinking about something. What if we just charge $10? Nothing really big. I said, dude, stop. Wait a minute. You, I know where you are, but that's what's wrong with people today.
Yeah.
They're so busy trying to stick their hand in your pocket, they're missing the altruistic, the whole idea about what it means to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I know it's biblical, but for those who don't even believe it,
True.
when you walk the walk and you talk the talk, they can do what you just said, Lisa. And that's what I
Yeah.
love about you, because we have the same
Thank you.
mindset. It's
Yes.
not a problem. But also being realistic for those who are starving to death and trying to figure out how to pay their bills and need extra money. I say it to you and I say to them, if you invited someone and they have a chance to get a paycheck because they sent the invitation, they made that available to
Yeah.
them, it's up to them. If you don't want the money, I'll give you my bank account number. If you don't want it, it's okay. But listen, that doesn't prevent you from opening your mouth and say,
Yeah.
here it is.
Absolutely.
Whosoever will, let him come. And that's what I love about you. And that's why we're talking today. It's not an accident. No,
Like,
by
I'm not
no
gonna lie.
means.
Like, yeah, if 100 people decided to say, hey, Lisa's my, the person that I heard this from, and I can make money into that. Let me tell you something. It's gonna go right back into that company anyways. I've got
Yeah.
a significant in trades. I'm in trades. My best friend will probably benefit from it. My mother would probably benefit from it. My brother. I'm gonna make sure that they all get samples.
And
And
as
here,
a
like,
business
here,
person, Lisa, you already know how to do what you want to do anyway. And I
yeah,
believe in my heart that with this information in the right hands, with the right people, because
mm-hmm,
it's happening globally. It's happening
yep,
globally. People get this and go, is this real? And they pinch us. Or they, are you, this is really happening?
yeah,
Well, it's not happening. This is why ASEA's founder and its leadership says, while we're using the word of mouth business model, the over the picket fence model, because people like this. You mean this is real? Now, does that mean that people along the line and who, are not evil and greedy and do it playing games with people? I don't do that, because that
no,
will
I don't
come
either.
out. But guess what? It doesn't speak to this technology not working, because it does. And
Yeah,
maybe the delivery system that comes through people are not right. Guess
mm-hmm,
what? Those like you just described, you and I, will see that. Whether you're
yeah,
43 or 69, whether you're a
yep,
goofball or you love the world, you'll do what's
yep.
right by people.
Well, and that's it. It's too many people want to capitalize on things or take advantage of people's weaknesses, and I'm just not that person. And neither are you. And that's what I love about a lot of people that come onto my show are that person, right?
I love you,
So
Lisa.
my other half is Colin.
Go ahead. Tell him Dr. T said hi.
I will for sure. So I'm going to wrap us up. So give me one
Okay.
second here, Dr. T. Thank you so much for being on my show.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate you so much. I hope you will come back and be on my show again. And, thank you. Thank you for walking through this technology with me, because I think it is a game changer for so many people, whether you
It
have
is.
ailments or not. It's just a game changer for optimal health.
It
So
is.
give me one second. So thank you so much for everybody for tuning in to another episode of Devil's Advocate. I look forward to seeing you guys again. And if you want to reach out to me, you can, Lisa at lpmenterprises.net, and you can either give me a topic or you can come on the show. Thanks so much. See you guys next time.